Are we good to go? Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, we're live.
Perfect. Apologies about that. Technical issues, as always. Absolute ball ache. But good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Red Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your Friday night news show with what was supposed to be me, Shreyas, and Adam, but something's come up with Adam. So just me and Shreyas tonight. How's your weekend started, Shreyas?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Very excited that United is going to be back in action finally. I think the international break just kills the mood around here. So really
Everything
excited.
kills
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
doesn't it?
definitely it does. So really excited to see United back in action, and a lot of our players have been doing pretty well over the course of
Yeah.
this national break. So hopefully they can carry on this momentum for the club as well.
Well, we've actually got lots to get into tonight. So if you're watching at home or wherever you are in the world, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and share to your friends. If you've got friends who are fans of football, send them the channel, let them have a look at it. And if they want to subscribe, they're more than welcome to. Let's grow this community together. Now, the topics on the table today are very mixed. We're going to start with the breaking news today that Luke Shaw has signed a new contract. I'll get Shreyas' thoughts on that very shortly. We've got a couple of updates on Mason Greenwood's future. We're going to discuss the financial reports that came out surrounding Manchester United, and then we'll end the show with some transfer news on potential outgoings. So, like I said, Shreyas, Luke Shaw, new deal. David Ornstein and The Athletic and many other people reported today Manchester United agreed a new 4-year contract with the defender Luke Shaw. 27-year-old's existing deal due to expire in 2024. But United now have a deal in place to secure the England's left-back long-term future at Old Trafford. Fantastic. Fantastic news. Yeah, that's how excited I am. I can't get my words out.
Yeah.
Fantastic news, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think once again I think Luke Shaw is one of the more important players in this squad right now. I think he's definitely made that left back position his own, and the way he's become versatile enough to actually function for us as a centre back as well in certain games when Lisandro Martinez isn't available or Rafael Varane hasn't been available. I think he's done a really good job. I would say arguably he's one of the best best fullbacks in the league. I think he's been performing very consistently. I can't even remember the last time Luke Shaw actually had a bad performance. I actually cannot remember it right now because it's been quite a while. I think he's been, one of our more consistent players in this setup, and once again, I would say similar to Rashford. I think he goes a little under the radar, but he has also revived his career at United, considering how last season was for him.
So I'm like mid-rap.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry. I've had eaten all day today, and that wrap is blowing my fucking mouth off. Wow, that is spicy. I was comparing before, Shreyas. Other left backs, you look around the world, you look at Alphonso Davies, you look at Robertson, you look at all these guys. Theo Hernandez is another one as well. Where would you rank? Where does he rank for you currently amongst Europe's top left backs?
Okay. I think right now you cannot actually judge Liverpool's defense. Like honestly, you really cannot judge their defense because I think Trent is it's absolutely crap right now. I think Trent doesn't work. I think Van Dijk has fallen off a cliff. I don't think that other centre backs in Joe Gomez or Matip are even doing a good job in there. And with Robertson, I really don't see that spark anymore. In that Liverpool defense, you used to see that intensity. Whenever a team, tried to attack them, they just used to completely shut them off. You can't see them. They're very vulnerable right now. And the moment someone attacks them, they absolutely crumble. So I don't think right now they enter into the conversation. I think with Alphonso Davies, you can say that he definitely enters into the conversation. I think one thing that he has over Luke Shaw is his pace. I think he's lightning quick in that left back position. But except that, if you have to compare them defensively, I think Luke Shaw is better than Alphonso Davies when you have to look at them into according to their defensive capabilities. I think Luke Shaw completely trumps Alphonso Davies in that aspect. And other than that, I think Luke Shaw's crossing ability is genuinely really really good. I think the way he's able to make the overlap runs and the way he's able to complement Rashford as well on that left wing. We've seen that before as well, that they they're able to really complement each other, and they work really well as a duo on that left hand side. So, and you can genuinely say he's right now in the top 5 for the best fullbacks in Europe. I think you can say that Luke Shaw is there in the top 5. And uh, I think in the Premier League, I would say he's one of the best. Like across Europe, you might say that certain players might come, might be able to, might be ahead of him in certain aspects. But right now, I genuinely don't see anyone in the league who actually comes close to him.
Yeah, I was discussing this this afternoon when I did the press conference coverage, and I know people always throw like the Theo Hernandez and Alfonso Davis are probably much quicker. They're like electric pace, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas Jaw's quick, but not as quick. But then he makes up for it with his other assets
Yeah.
that he brings into his game. I don't know if you noticed as well. The thing is, I've been impressed with Luke. I'll bring this mic closer to my mouth. The thing is, I've been impressed with Luke Shaw is his leadership skills.
Yeah.
Like he's taking on more responsibility. You know, when you watch his interviews, he's very clear. He's very like honest at the same time. But like if he fucks up in a game or if something goes wrong, he's always there to take accountability for it. And he's always giving it when he gives his interviews. He'll be like, "Yeah, look, I definitely wasn't good enough today. The team weren't good enough today. But look, I'm working on specific things. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." It's nice to see him grow in that element, in it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a completely, different scenario as to what was going on last season, because after every single game, these players used to, just completely blame each other, even, no matter what kind of performance they actually put on the field. So I think it shows that he is integrated well into the team. The team is actually working as a very well unit. Whatever, whether they win, whether they lose, they know how to take it as a group. There is no
Yeah.
individualism in there, and I think that's one of the biggest things which has worked into our favor this season. And except that, I think, like we mentioned, that Varane is one of the leaders in that backline. I think Luke Shaw is another leader in that backline. He definitely is.
100%.
And the kind of chemistry that he's built alongside Martinez and Varane as well in that centre back pairing, allowing them to play their game, and them actually allowing Luke Shaw to play more aggressive and move into more attacking areas. It has genuinely worked into our favor.
It must help.
Yeah.
Having Lisandro Martinez next to you as
Yeah.
opposed to Harry Maguire, your game's only going to be
Yeah, last
improving,
season, and it showed that because last season they genuinely didn't work together. Like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, every single time they used to
It was like
concede
Bill and
goals.
Ben, mate, just
Yeah.
flashing heads. Just was not great together. I think anyone, he's kind of infectious in that sense, Maguire, innit? And it sounds harsh, but whoever he plays with, he drops their level down. You saw it with Varane when Ollie was in charge. Varane didn't look the same. Now he's got a partner that he can rely on and is stable.
Exactly.
Much better performances.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about what's going to happen, what clangers going on behind you. FIFA World Cup status has put Malacia will have to step up. That was going to be my next question, actually. So thank you for the segue, FIFA World Cup. Yeah, we've got a nice balance. I mean, I'll show you as with Malacia pushing him constantly for a spot as well. How do you see them two kind of dovetailing? Or is Malacia's future, you say?
I think Malacia stays, and probably in like a few years' time he takes that spot of Luke Shaw, because the thing with Malacia is Ten Hag has actually used him in the biggest games of the season, and he's turned up for us. He put him against Liverpool, he completely pocketed Mo Salah. He put him against City, he completely pocketed Riyad Mahrez. So Malacia, I think he's one of those players who, even though he's very young, he knows how to step up in the big games. I think he's one thing he has over Luke Shaw is his aggressiveness. Like you can, when Malacia is on the pitch, he's never invisible on the pitch. You will see his presence. He'll be looking to make those aggressive tackles. Once again, he's very rapid. He loves to command that left hand flank, and he offers us a different profile to what Luke Shaw brings to the table as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things you can have, in your bench to actually bring on. Like, if in certain games, certain profile isn't working, you bring on a different profile. It changes the dynamic of the game and probably gives you an edge, over the opposition. So I think right now Malacia is doing a good job. Whenever he's been brought on, I really haven't had, many problems with him. I think he's been doing a good job. Right now he's working as a deputy for Luke Shaw, and I think that's the perfect kind of balance you would want to have, and we've got that on the right hand side, and now we've got that on the left hand side as well.
Yeah. Do you think Luke Shaw's spoken about enough? Do you think he gets enough praise from his peers, from ex-footballers? Like, you don't see him spoken about a lot in the media, do you?
No.
I feel like.
No, I think once again, I think he's one of those players who goes under the radar. And over the years, I think Luke Shaw has probably been one of the more controversial players in our lineup. Like a lot of people have come out and have had their opinions about him, but he's been doing one hell of a job at United. And there have been managers before. There have been some ex-players before who have called him out that he's not at the level of Manchester United. He doesn't have the fitness levels. He's not consistent enough. He's injury prone, but he's genuinely turned it all around for himself. And I think one of the things that has actually helped him out is, Eric Ten Hag actually coming in charge, because he's actually brought that confidence back in Luke Shaw, that he's one of the more important players in that defensive backline. And
For sure.
yeah, definitely. And it shows in his game and body language as well whenever he's on the pitch. And the way he's performing, once again, by the end of the season, probably we could eliminate a lot of areas which we would have been thinking about strengthening last season. Like at the back end of last season, we would have been thinking we need a left back, we need a start.
Well, you're looking at Wan-Bissaka now, and
exactly,
it's like night and day, innit?
Yeah.
Literally night and day.
Yeah, and we could have said that about a lot of these players. Like we could have said that about Bruno Fernandes. We could have said that about Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, like you mentioned, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. There have been tons of players in this team. You could have even said Fred, but I think the kind of job Fred has to do in this team, he's doing it right now, and he's doing the job that Ten Hag wants him to do. He doesn't want him to pull off trees like Casemiro does. He just wants him to come into the pitch, show that energy, show that tenacity, win the ball, and do the job for 30 minutes. And that's what he's
Get
been
a couple
doing
of goals as well. And he's our third highest scorer or something. He might even be second. I don't know. Because obviously Rashford's up there by the top. I'm sure Fred and Bruno aren't far away.
Yeah, Rashford is first and Bruno is second.
Yeah. What was I going to touch on that? Oh yeah, Luke Shaw. Just the very last thing I'll touch on this before we get into the next kind of topics. I feel like it's quite scary for other teams when you look at his age profile as well. You look at he's only 26 years old.
Yeah.
We've got him tied now for the next 4 years now. So you basically got his prime. Like he's not even in his prime yet. I know other players like Michael Owen and other ones, they obviously sink before their actual age or supposed prime. But that is quite scary thought, isn't it? To think that he's not even at the top or maybe at his peak level yet. Yeah,
I think that's one of the things. He's actually entering into the best years of his career now. And the way he's performing, I think this was the perfect time to actually give him a new contract, actually tie him down for probably the best years of his career at Manchester United. And I think he definitely has the quality to make a big name for himself. And right now he's got the perfect manager to actually work under as well, because the biggest reason I think that a lot of these fans are behind this decision is all of these deals and all of these renewals are being done with the approval of Eric Ten Hag. It's not like something is happening just because of the club's PR.
I mean, it definitely is. But did you see his press conference when he got asked about it, and he was like, "Has he? Has he done it? Oh, if he has, then that's great." And I thought that was a funny moment.
And Ten Hag seems to like him a lot. Ten Hag has been using him in a lot of games. Once again, he's one of those players who's undroppable for him at the moment. And
versatile.
Yeah, very versatile. And he's converted him. Basically, the job he was doing with Julian Timber at Ajax, he's doing it with Luke Shaw at Manchester United, and he's eliminated a lot of flaws in our squad right now. And probably the genuine fact right now is that next season we only need 3 players to actually complete the squad.
And I think he's a shining example to young players who are coming up. Yeah. Because the adversity that he's had to deal with, the injury, the broken leg, like that was horrific. Yeah. We all remember that. The situations with certain coaches, Jose Mourinho saying he had to use his brain on the pitch, which is a proper damning comment from one of your coaches. To be the renowned as probably top 5, top 3 in his position, and able to play, in a back 4 and pocket Ireland essentially, and which is just absolute madness. So fair play to him. I think we're both in agreement that he's more than earned the new contract. So we're absolutely buzzing for him. A few comments. Daniel Raj saying bringing in Malacia was key in improving Luke Shaw. Now that comment is right, and I do appreciate one side of it. However, I don't want one player just to improve because another one's coming in. Do you know what I mean? Like he should be putting in levels anyway. He shouldn't have to have someone come in and push him, but I'm obviously grateful that he has. Adam saying apologies for not being able to. Shit happens. Yeah. It's all right. But you all know my feelings on that new Luke Shaw contract extension. It's giving me an extension as well. So Adam's clearly happy with it. Maybe that's why he can't come on the show today because got a certain issue downstairs. Yeah, it's hard for me to segue into the next bit, especially when I've just said that, but I'm going to try. Fucking hell. Right, I'm going to go at this with a clear head now because that's just the wrong comment to go on to this. Right, let's just deal with it professionally, right? So Mason Greenwood, Manchester United are understood to be split on the issue of Mason Greenwood, with staff in the football department arguing he should be given a second chance, but commercial executives more wary amidst concerns over the potential damage to their reputation. United are adamant they will not be rushed into making a decision in relation to Mason Greenwood and are continuing to conduct due diligence into the circumstances surrounding his arrest and his off-field conduct. Mason Greenwood has continued to receive his £70,000 a week wages since being suspended, and the remaining value of his contract shares is understood to be £8.1 million, which United have to pay off if they choose to dismiss him at the end of the season. This is a fucking minefield, isn't it?
Yeah. Once again, I think it's a very tough situation to be in. We've already got a lot of things that are happening at the club right now, and with all the eyes that are already there at Manchester United with the ownership and everything, I think this is the last thing that we would want to, have to actually look on. I think the club is definitely split, but the worst thing about all this is that the fan base is actually split on this as well, which is really sad to see. That people are actually considering seeing him back on the field wearing our jersey. So I'm actually pretty clear on my as to what I would want, but the thing is that at the end of the day, it is not in our hands. It doesn't matter what we want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is not in our hands. So whatever it is, it will have to go through a process, and whatever the club finds, favorable for them, that's the decision what they'll be going with. And you never know. Probably he could be playing for Manchester United, but I genuinely wouldn't want him, wouldn't want us to actually see that.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken about this on numerous occasions, and we've both got the exact same opinions out pretty much how we feel about it. But do you get that vibe United might actually bring him back? Because it seems like it's leaning that way now. The more reports I see about it, like, oh, well, if they get rid of him, it's £8 million. They don't want to pay that. He's, they can put him on some kind of course. I don't know. I've seen loads of stuff come out about it, but it seems like they're putting it out there to test the waters. If that makes sense.
They're trying to actually see what kind of reaction the fans would have if he actually comes back, and that's the thing. I think the thing is that they're actually considering it. The point is that they're actually considering it, because if they weren't considering it, we would have had a decision up by now that he won't be playing, or whether he will be playing for us in the nearby future or not. They're trying to see what kind of backlash they could be facing, not from just the fans, but also from the team, because the players that he's going to be playing alongside with, I think they definitely would have a strong opinion about it, and a lot of these guys are actually family men. So I really don't think that the players would be quite comfortable actually having someone like him back in the team, because it just doesn't work that way. I genuinely don't think so, and I don't think that he deserves to be back at the club.
Well, we all remember, obviously, the incident initially when it happened. You had a lot of players coming out and putting stuff like, like with a picture of the girlfriend saying "love you," and so he was kind of signifying their thoughts, but not actually putting it on social media. So you can only imagine it'd rip the dressing room apart. And after the past 4 or 5 years, why would you go and do that? Yeah. Because it took so long to rebuild the fractures that were in there. Ten Hag's done that now. I even think Ten Hag himself, I don't want to speak for him, obviously, but I think he would look at that and be like, no, he's not. You can't bring him back into it. I think anyway. Are we saying potentially the best scenario, given the contract situation, Shreyas, is either take an L on the £8 million and terminate his contract, or send him out on loan?
I think just deal with the 8 million, I would genuinely say, because I think it would be worth spending that amount of money. I think we've spent like 100 million and 80 million on worthless stuff. For once, probably I think right now money doesn't matter. I think it matters more about the humanitarian aspect on this.
Well, will the executives see it like that though?
Oh, definitely not. They would just see, they would definitely see what kind of opinion the fans have. what sort of losses they might incur if he comes back.
That's
If
it.
they
Yeah.
aren't that big and they would genuinely able, be able to turn a profit in a few years, I don't see why they won't do it. But I really wouldn't want to do that, because this is a new era at the club. A fresh new slate is going to be open for us by the start of next season. I would want that to start on a positive note, and not, with the fan base being in a split decision over a certain player.
Yeah. If anything, I think they'd probably lose more money bringing him back with the
Yeah.
PR that's around it, sponsors cutting ties for obvious reasons. Like, it's obviously not a win-win here in whatever situation you kind of describe. But I think if you're going to do it, you bring him back and then you send him out on loan. If you don't want to terminate the contract, obviously I would terminate the contract,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah.
people would. But if they're not going to do that and they don't want to think it, send him out on loan to another country. He's had offers from Turkish clubs. He's had offers, I think, from
Chinese
a
clubs.
couple others as well, Chinese
Yeah.
clubs, yeah. So surely that's the best route to go about it. That's what I think. Anyway, you go there and then for 2 years, what he's got left on his contract, which is on
Yeah, just run
70K
him
a
out
week,
of his contract
put it
if it is
down.
that kind of situation. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, if he picks up value when he's in China, starts killing it there and starts, doing whatever, and you get a resale value for him, then sell him off and
Yeah, sell
he's
him
another
off. Yeah,
club.
definitely. I think once again, if we avoid a situation of conflict with that decision, why not go for it? Because
Mm,
I think this is genuinely going to be a big issue, which, by the time this ownership thing dials down, by the time, the season actually moves into the latter stages as well, this is the only thing which is actually going to be focused on. So
that's
I
it.
think the faster the club is actually able to come to a decision, I think it is going to be a better situation for them, because I genuinely don't think, right now any player in that locker room would be comfortable with the decision.
Well, they're obviously waiting for the summer, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
you don't want to open this kind of worms near the end of the season in a very vital, important
Yeah.
part. But apparently, Greenwood's eager to get back into training, so he's banging on that door to say, "Look, I'm ready to go back now." I don't know how it. Maybe it'll have this will have a significant effect when the new owners come in, how they see the situation, how they handle it. If they'll hire new people at board level, you don't know, do you? Like I said, it's an absolute minefield. Adam, I agree with your comment, but I can't kind of read it out on the thing. But I agree with you absolutely. And is that green Fanta? It is green Fanta. It's zero sugar, but strawberry and kiwi, and it's actually quite nice, to be fair. So yes, Adam, it is green Fanta. Dan saying Qatari has the ability to buy Haaland, Mbappe, Kane, De Jong, Bellingham, Neuer, Ramos all in one summer. I'm not sure how that relates to what we're talking about, but okay, fair enough. We know they've got a lot of money. So, speaking of money, Shreyas, that's going to be the perfect segue, a much better one. Worrying financial figures for Manchester United. Apparently, we owe 969 million through a combination of gross debt, bank borrowings, and outstanding transfer fees, with associated payments. According to new figures, this is coming out from the BBC, and Manchester United still owe various clubs £350 million in unpaid transfer fees. The debt will constrain the club this summer due to financial fair play regulations. Judging from that, seems like we might have some bailiffs at Old Trafford trying to take our shit. You can see why the Glazers want to sell up here, can't
Exactly.
you?
Yeah. I think they just saw that, we genuinely can't work like this. Like, sooner or later we're gonna have to pay up, and the amount that we want to pay up, we can't do it by actually shelling in our own cash, or actually, using the club's cash actually smartly, because usually they
Yeah.
just end up taking it for dividends. So if you they just thought that, what is the what is the best thing that we can actually do now with this club, and they thought probably selling it, for an inflated price in the market, and wanting to, just shift the responsibility basically onto someone else to actually deal with the stuff. That's what they're doing, because they don't have the funds to actually rebuild the stadium. They don't have the funds either to actually build the infrastructural facilities. They don't have the funds to inject cash into the transfer windows, or work into player contracts, or pay off the debt. They don't have, and I don't think they have the resources for that, and that's why they're trying to just sell off the club and make as much cash as they can from it. um I think this is one of the biggest reasons why we've been struggling in transfer windows as well. This is genuinely one of the biggest reasons why because the moment we go in with an offer or something, the clubs will definitely have that in the back of their minds, that we're not a kind of club which is easy to negotiate with, or the kind of terms that we actually build into the contract. It takes a lot of time for us to actually pay off the actual transfer money which is involved. So once again, the Glazers have done one hell of a job in the in the transfer market as well as the club's financials, and right now we are actually struggling because of it. Every single window we struggle because of it.
Well, does this kind of bang the door down even more that we need super wealth? I'm not suggesting that you want the Qataris in or anything like that, but when you look at them financials, they're huge figures, 900 million, 350 still in transfer wages.
Genuinely, because assuming the club goes for like 6 billion, that's 6 billion first, then to pay off this entire sum, I think 1.5 billion at least will be required to just pay off this debt and all this transfer money which is involved. So that would bring the total up to 7.5 billion. And after that, you will need a considerable amount to rebuild the stadium, rebuild the infrastructure, get Ten Hag the players that he wants, and accept that work into the financials of the club, and making it better economically. So I think whoever actually comes in would they genuinely would need to have like 8 billion ready. Like they need to be liquid enough to be able to shell out like 8 billion. So if it is someone who has the funds to generate like 6 billion, but they don't have enough cash to actually rebuild the stadium or do anything, I think it's going to be very hard. And if someone has the funds to actually operate with that and still be able to completely back the club, completely be able to run its operations, I think that's what we genuinely need right now, because the club is in a very terrible situation if you look at it in the financial terms.
Yeah. Well, whatever you put in, though, you would see it as if United has huge potential. I'm sure they've looked at the books and they've gone, if we do everything right here, we can make a big amount of money. If you put a stadium in there, you automatically make them a more valuable club. You get them competing at the top for titles, winning trophies. You've got massive players,
and the Premier League money as well, the TV rights and everything. I think the Premier League, once again, the kind of cash that would actually bring.
Yeah, it's just going like that. It's on an upward trajectory.
Exactly.
Regardless of whatever it is you do, you're going to have a massive profit by the time you sell the club. As long as you nurture it right, that's all it needs. It just needs natural care, and you'll be absolutely fine. Just sticking with the ownership situation, because this is Simon Stone who's done all these reports on the financial figures, and he put something out about Sheikh Jassim as well. He says Sheikh Jassim's bid for Manchester United is being made as a private individual and will therefore not be affected by the Premier League's recent statement on owners and directors of clubs. Now, there was probably a few fans that were worried that this might affect the potential Qatari takeover. Obviously, the lines are blurred, whether it is an individual takeover or if it's linked to the state. I think we both know the answer to that question. Are you happy with that news? That it won't be blocked? Like, I'm picking at you a little bit there, but
I really don't know how to feel. That is the biggest thing, because it's just a little too vague. Because the only thing that you can actually take out of all these bidders is the amount of cash that they're coming in with. Like, if you mention Qatar, you could say like 6 billion is being mentioned. If you mention Sir Jim Ratcliffe, probably a 5.5 billion thing. I think all we can actually compare these owners with right now, if you have to look at it as prospective owners for the club, it is just with the kind of cash they're coming in. It's not about the plan they're coming in with. It's not about what their vision is with the club. Where do they see this club? Where do they want it to go? In which direction do they want to build it towards? That is the biggest problem that I think I am having to actually differentiate between it, because right now you can just differentiate it on the basis of how much money they can bring in.
Are you still on the fence? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I think I'm the same, to be honest. I still can't categorically say I want that person, because every single person who's either gone in for it, any minority investment, which we know the issues with them anyway, they all bring the problems and they all bring certain things. I was hoping, when we saw links with like Amazon or Apple or these kind of things, I like Apple, for example. Obviously, there's moral issues with them. You're going to get moral issues with all billionaires. But I just thought with them, you've got the super wealth, you've got all the technology involved. Like when you're upgrading, imagine a stadium. Like the stadium would be fucking unreal. Everything felt like it was in part then, and most people would be like, right, well, the super wealth's there, so you've got that side of the crowd, and then the moral side isn't as bad, some might say. So that was kind of a perfect scenario for me, but obviously it was all absolute. A lot of them were just saying it for clout and clicks on the names and all this kind of stuff. That Thomas Zeliankus, is that his name? Who we discussed on the show as well a couple of weeks ago. But that fan ownership, I'm not sure what's going on with there. Apparently, he's put the 6 billion in now, and then he's going to get this fucking app or whatever. So I don't know. I'm sure we're going to hear something about it in the next couple of days. I feel like either today or the next couple of days we're going to, because the second bids have gone in, haven't they? So they're just assessing them in a minute. Do you see another round of bids quickly before we move on to the transfer talk?
There shouldn't be another round of bids because I think this is the last. Yeah, this is the last day of the month, and
maybe like boxing, it'll be 12 rounds.
And technically, the club should have been sold by now, considering how it was being publicized. At the time, it was being made public that the club is up for sale. So, considering how things were being rumored, I don't see another round of bids going in. Probably this is the last round of bids. But if the Glazers want more cash, which they genuinely would, they could just say that we have narrowed it down to like 2 to 3 bidders, and now they will put in their final bids. They could genuinely go in that direction as well.
Yeah, we've got Lewis Jackson in the chat saying "Eat Mush." I was just literally with him a bit ago. Let me know, Lewis, who do you want to take over? Because I'm curious to know your thoughts. I have an idea you might say, but just let me know in the comment section who you want to take over Manchester United, and that goes for the rest of the people watching as well. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a real Reds Ultra, join the membership it's like £4 a month. You get exclusive content, you get a chance to feature on the show, and you get a badge next to your name. We've already got a good few members in there now. We're trying to get a starting 11 of Real Red Ultras, and yeah, obviously you'll benefit from that, and it helps the channel as well. It supports us to get more guests on, etc., etc. Yeah, transfer talk, Shreyas. We always end the Friday night news show with a little bit of transfer talk. And this is actually coming from Fabrizio Romano, so you could take this as pretty true.
Yeah.
I want to focus on outgoings. So the two pieces that have come out from his article, he said Eric Ten Hag on his side on the situation of Victor Lindelof in the summer. Lindelof had Inter and Atletico Madrid interest in January. And then he said Ten Hag will decide also on Scott McTominay's future in the summer. He remains on the Newcastle list. If United... We'll see what happens if United decide to sell in the next couple of months. If you're compiling a list of players in the summer who you want gone or who fits that bill, who are you putting on that list?
Harry Maguire, Twanzebe, Brandon Williams, McTominay definitely there. If we actually end up signing Sabitzer, I wouldn't mind putting Fred in. But if we don't end up signing, because I think...
That surprised me, that.
Yeah, the only reason being, I think, if we get another box-to-box mid and we end up signing Sabitzer, we'll have 3 players in that box-to-box position. We'll have Eriksen, Sabitzer, and that new midfielder. So Fred would once again be someone who would be surplus to our options. So why not, But if we don't end up signing someone, I think Fred can do a very good job coming off the bench for like 30 to 35 minutes. I think he brings a lot of energy. But if we end up signing like a Frenkie de Jong, I would say sell Fred, because then you've got Frenkie de Jong, you've got Christian Eriksen, then you've got Sabitzer as well. So they have 3 players in that one position. I think that's more than enough to have in the course of a season.
Do you think we'll sign Sabitzer?
I think we genuinely might. I think we could.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with that as well.
Yeah,
I think
the only thing that needs to be seen right now is him getting a consistent run of games and what his fitness levels are, because I've seen him being out. I think he's missed a couple of games here and there since he's come in. So if he can, I think if he can play like 10 to 15 games on a run, I think Ten Hag would genuinely be interested in signing him, because he's been impressive. I think when he's been on the pitch, he's been impressive for us.
I've just fucking remembered. We've not got Casemiro on Sunday, have we?
Yeah, no.
I've literally just remembered now. I thought, I was going to say, maybe we'll see Sabitzer, finally with Casemiro for a full 90 minutes.
We haven't genuinely seen him for 90 minutes alongside Casemiro.
No, that's what I mean. Now. I want to see like a run of 4 or 5 games where you got Sabitzer, Bruno, and Casemiro together.
Exactly.
Just a run. That's all you want to see. To get used to each other's patterns, etc. So, yeah, who else is on that list for you? Who's making the list? The cut list, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely Maguire, Twanzebe, Brandon Williams, Scott McTominay. You could put Anthony Elanga in there, but probably I think he goes out on loan next season.
Would you
Uh,
loan or would you sell
I would sell.
Elanga?
I would sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And except that, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think that practically we've got anything actually going forward, like in terms of depth. So pretty much the
Would you
defensive line and the midfield line in McTominay.
would you keep Lindelof then? I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, I would keep Lindelof. I think he's a very good he's a very good player to have as a
He's a
backup.
good backup,
Yeah,
isn't
he's a
he? He
very
is.
good player. I think he's the perfect player to have as a backup because I think throughout the course of the season, whenever he's come on and he's played alongside Lisandro Martinez or Rafael Varane, he's actually been playing quite well. So
Yeah,
uh,
I agree.
to have him as like a third or fourth choice centre back, I think Victor Lindelof is the perfect person to have.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to ask you on your goalkeeper
Yeah.
preference because I already know that. But if a goalkeeper does become available, like a David Raya for 30 million, 35, is that something you would look at, or would you still keep the kind of Butland wherever he is, or the Heaton as the backup?
I think if a person out there is ready to accept that they would be a second choice, like
So only third number two.
yeah, definitely, if
Yeah.
they're ready to actually play in that role, probably go in for that. But if they are not, if they want to be the first choice keeper, I wouldn't, because I think I would still trust the Gea in that role.
Would you bring anyone in to provide competition for Bruno Fernandes? That's another
Yeah,
position that's
yeah.
being discussed.
I think we need depth
Anyone
in
in
that
mind?
position. I think we need the depth in that number 10 position. I actually forgot. I think there's one more person who could make that cut list, and that's Donny van de Beek. I
Donny van de
forgot.
Beek. Oh yeah,
I genuinely
yeah. I
forgot
forgot
that he
about
was
him as
still
well.
there.
I
So,
completely forgot.
yeah.
But you could get a chunk of money for that, right? If you sell Wright, Maguire, McTominay, Donny van de Beek, Fred, if Fred goes as well,
Yeah.
like if you do your job and actually sell them for what they're worth right now, let's go through them. Just the
Okay.
four players I mentioned there, right? So Donny van de Beek, what you say, because he's not propelled, but he's still a player in there. 15 to 20.
million.
Yeah, 15 to 20 million. I think
Yeah.
we're both in agreement of that. Scott McTominay, 30, 35.
If Newcastle come in for him, 40.
Okay. You think you can push him to 40? Well,
Newcastle
did
have
they
the
pay 40
funds.
million for Bruno Guimaraes? I'm pretty sure, didn't they?
Yeah, they
So
bought him.
I'm thinking maybe they're looking at that, and if
Yeah.
they pay the same amount for him, they're mugged, mate. Because I'd be like, yeah, no, he's not even half the player Guimaraes
Yeah,
is. But
yeah, but I think you could push probably because the market prices are definitely much inflated when it comes to British origin players. So with
it's true.
McTominay, once again, you could go to like 40 million. I mean, we signed Casemiro for 60. So
yeah. That's crazy, isn't it, when you think about that? We signed Casemiro for how much did Newcastle pay for Anthony Gordon? Pay 40 mil.
Yeah, 45 to 50. Yeah.
Yeah, so the market's all over the place. You don't know who's worth fucking what nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just whatever they're saying. Harry Maguire, I say we would probably get again similar price, 30, 35 for Maguire. I don't think we 35 cents, 35 rupees, 35 whatever you want to call it. I don't think we even recoup 50%.
No, not at all.
Tag.
We got him for 80. I think if we even get like 20 for him, it would be right now a very big profit for us. If we even get 20. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrendous, isn't it? So 30 to 35 for Maguire, 30 to 35 roughly for McTominay, about 15 to 20 for Donny. And then who was the last one? Did we mention the last one?
Tuanzebe, Brandon Williams.
Oh, no. Yeah, but they're pennies. I think Tuanzebe goes on a free anyway.
Elanga.
Because his contract runs out. Elanga, 5 to 10, probably, I'm guessing. Maybe 10, 15 at a push, similar to Pereira's price.
If Fred goes, then Fred would be valued at what?
Fred's a tough one to value because he's 29, isn't it? 29, 30, I think.
Yeah.
Would bring qualities, but I don't know. I don't know what price I'd say.
We signed him for like 50.
25?
Right? I think we signed him for 50.
Yeah, paid 50 mil.
Yeah,
because the Shakhtar Donetsk executives were popping champagne when they heard that United was paying 50 million. But that's a genuine story, by the way, that's out there. They was popping champagne in the executive kind of boardroom when they heard that United was going to pay that much money. So again, you're recouping just under half for what you've actually spent on the players. Wan-Bissaka is just staying now. Do you think?
Yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka is staying. Yeah, I think he stays and he gives that competition, Delo and Wan-Bissaka both to each other on that right hand side. And once again, in games you want to go a little defensive, play Wan-Bissaka. In games where you want to genuinely just attack and lock the opponent down in their own box, you play Diego Dallo.
Yeah, I agree. Going to be very interesting heading into this summer. We've got literally 2
we
months
still
now.
got we've also got Alex Telles and Eric Bailly coming back
Oh
as well.
shit! Yeah, forgot about them. Again, I think 10 million around that kind of mark with both of them.
Yeah,
Because both have like Sevilla. I don't think Sevilla are going to buy Tellez. I saw something coming out reports about that saying that
yeah.
they don't
They're
want to
not.
put him
They're
on
not.
permanent. Eric Bailly's had his issues at Marseille. He's drop kicked someone and got a 7-game ban or something. Which is, does that surprise you, with Eric Bailly? No, it really doesn't. So they're both bringing their issues. They're not first team starters, and I just sell them, put them in like a bargain store, or just, you know what I mean, put fucking a mil price tag on them and just let them go, because they do more damage by being here, I think, than they would actually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think we can, and we've got Dean Henderson coming back as well.
Oh fucking hell! Wow, how many players have we got out on loan? Wow. Dean Henderson is another one, but he's injured at the minute, innit? They signed Dean
Keylor
Henderson,
Navas.
and they got Keylor Navas in
Yeah.
January, and Dean Henderson's probably sat there thinking, "What the fuck? What have I got to do now?" I was locked in a cage at Manchester United and didn't get game time, so I went somewhere else, and now they've gone and signed another fucking world class keeper, so now I can't play for them. So price wise, I don't know. I don't have a clue. 20. Maybe for Henderson.
Yeah, but
so in actual fact, every player that we've mentioned there, Shreyas, add them all up, you're probably getting in an ideal world
150 million at least.
You're getting a lot of money, but we know football doesn't work like that, does it?
It definitely doesn't. But yeah, you could genuinely pay off your entire transfer window if you get rid of all those players. Like
if you actually sold them.
Yeah.
Plus the wages that you get off the bill as well.
Yeah, and they're on big contracts. They're genuine big contracts, these players. So you
Henderson's on 100k a week.
Yeah.
So if you remove that, you remove Bailly's, Tellez, Maguire's, McTominay's, Donny's, like you're removing millions off the wage bill as well. So you leave a big gap there.
Yeah.
But we know, I mean, I've had so many discussions before the summer window about, we sell him and we do that and we sold Pereira and it was like, we just won the lottery because we never sell players. So I'm not expecting us to go in there, sell Maguire, McTominay, blah, blah, blah. I expect us to probably sell 2 or 3 players, probably at shit prices. And then we go by our targets. But again, our targets, I don't know I know we're being linked with Kane and etc. But I genuinely don't have a clue who we're going to go in for or who we're going to go and get. Like, I couldn't put my finger on it, do you know what I mean, and say we're definitely going to go get him. I feel like still
would you think about offloading Anthony Martial?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Again, would you get much money for him because of his injury records? Like, if you're a club and you're going to buy him based on what you've seen from him, are you going to look at the injuries he's had for United this season?
There isn't one player on this list where we actually end up making a profit. Like
that's my point. Yeah, and the wages as well make it so hard for us to sell him. Martial's on 200 grand a week. 200 grand a week.
Yeah,
like that's a lot of fucking money. And I think he started 6 games for us this season. Something along the lines of that, close to that. And his conversion rate when he's come on with assists and goals has been really good. There's no denying that. And I think if he would have been fit for this season, Shreyas, I think he'd be maybe close to Rashford's numbers. That's just my personal opinion.
He could have gotten like 20 plus easily. Not well, but
because we saw pre-season, didn't we? How he was linking up, and it looked very promising.
Yeah.
But you can't win leagues off promises. That's just not how it works. So another one who's just mega difficult to sell. And we had this last season, like we were talking about Cavani, Juan Mata, Matic, who's too old. Like we sold like 10, 12 players then. It seems like we've always got
I think the biggest part about last season was we didn't actually sell them. They ran out of their contracts. They just left.
Yeah, pretty much. So it is a minefield. We actually did a show. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, whoever's watching live now or if you're going to be watching later on. We did a traffic light show to rate basically green, amber, red, the transfer windows post Fergie. So we had to look at every individual transfer window, which it was all pretty shit. If we're being completely honest, aside from Eric Ten Hag. So go watch that if you missed it. It's a very good show. Shah Sam, a real Red Ultra member, saying the amount of deadwood we've got just shows how badly we've been run. And added to our point that we were just saying
for
there.
For the past 6 to 7 years, we've just been saying that get rid of the deadwood.
Yeah, quite literally. And now we've got more to get rid of. But one of the biggest pieces of deadwood, Treyas, Phil Jones will actually be going. Like his contract runs out. So I suppose that's another 120k, I think, added onto the thing. Sayonara.
Yeah.
Right. We'll park it there. As always, we'll leave it on Phil Jones. As always, and it's a pleasure, Shreya. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me once again. Felt good to be back, and hopefully we are able to get a win. We are able to kickstart. Coming back into action once again on a good note and cement our position in that third spot. A big game against Newcastle as well.
Yeah. Just in case you're not on the preview, what are your predictions for that game? No Casemiro away at St James's Park. Tough one, isn't it?
I think it will be a frustrating game, especially without having Casemiro in that lineup, because who plays in that? How do we shape that midfield up now? I'm genuinely really really confused. Whether we see Fred and Sabitzer.
Will they go McTominay because they're the hot form at the minute?
He's been in good form for Scotland, but
whether that's in that there in the attacking box,
exactly.
Not like defensively.
He's not going to be be playing that role for us in that game, because that's either going to be Bruno or that's either going to be Marcel Sabitzer. So I think he plays. I think it's going to be a very frustrating game, but we nick it at the end, because the kind of team Newcastle are, you wouldn't expect, even though you play them at the home stadium, you wouldn't see them attacking a lot. But having McTominay in that midfield actually balances situations out, and now that they've got Bruno Guimaraes as well, I think it will be a very big battle in that midfield to actually have.
Yeah. Well, it's time for McTominay to showcase his skills to Newcastle, isn't it?
I think if he's able to kick back his form, which he had during the start of the season when he actually kept Casemiro out for like a couple of games, that's that could genuinely help us out right now, because Casemiro is going to be gone for a while. So I think we still will be able to get a win, but it's going to be a very very frustrating game, and I think a lot of sloppy passes could be seen in that game.
Yeah, I think it's got a draw written all over it, to be honest. So, let's see what happens. We'll have the preview for the game tomorrow with the lads, roughly about 5 o'clock as always on a Saturday, and then we'll have a live watch along, a return of a watch along for Sunday. Exciting times. We've missed United. It's been a couple of weeks of boring international dribble, but we finally made it to the finishing line. It's the start of the weekend. It's very exciting. Back tomorrow, Premier League. So love it. Thank you for coming on, Treyas, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the preview. If anything breaks or anything goes live, anything about the ownership, because it is Friday night, so something could come out. I will go live with someone. I'll go live on by myself, should I say. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Take care of yourselves. Like I said, have a nice weekend. Peace.